Hello.
Hola.
Hola. Axelano. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien,
Axelano, ¿está bien?
muy bien, muy
¿Sí?
bien. Sí, el mar está tan bonita,
Está bonita.
tan bonita, lo bonito que es.
Sí.
El mar está tan bonita esta noche y también estamos aquí con Agustín
Ajá.
para rezar.
Sí.
All right, see ya. Bye. All right, let's rip it. He's coming. All right.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome back to yourself as well, Mindy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we're here at Aldea Salvia, the finished product. Actually, they're still finishing it. You see over there, they have these apartments that are going up. And it came out better than I thought it would. Honestly, this place is, you walk in it and it's like its own little community and environment. And it kind of takes you somewhere else. Like, I feel like I got really lucky with this purchase. For the first time we came here, even you and I, it was just cinder blocks. And Onyx Development is the developer, and they did an amazing job here in the middle of the jungle to add this little complex. So it's the first development in this region 10, 15, 12, I'm not exactly sure. But they're gonna build, I think, 400 more of these apartments, 300, don't quote me. Because there's going to be this is a very distinct exterior to a complex with the pink walls and the rock veneers and the plants. But I got really lucky. I think I might be one of the only ones that's doing the Airbnb thing. So, supply demand, where there's scarcity, there's demand. And if this is one of the only units here in Aldea Salvia that people can stay at, it'll do better on my Airbnb.
I thought they all were gonna do Airbnb.
I did too. I thought they would all be Airbnb, but people come to Tulum because they want to live here. They've done some other developments that I've looked into, and what they're really good at is saving the trees. So all these trees were here when it was just a plot of land, and then they selected the ones that worked with the architecture. If you look at this one, it just beautifully goes up the side of the building. And this person, when they're in their loft up there in their terrace, they have greenery alive around them. It's living. It's not just a building. It's a piece of the nature here in Tulum. And this is just an absolutely beautiful way to build a building. And as you walk in on this one, you can see you walk between the two trees into the jungly brush. And I think that was their idea here. They wanted to preserve the jungle, and they want people, when they come out here, to feel like they're part of the jungle. There's two sides of Tulum. There's the beach, of course, but now there's the jungle.
What happened with the supply and demand?
All right, so like anything else, the deeper you go into a project or more time you spend in a business, the problems start to unravel and reveal themselves. Here in Tulum, you're having no problem with appreciation. All the prices are going up at a very rapid pace because it's becoming a more and more desirable location. Vacancies, I haven't experienced any issues with that yet. It seems like places book up pretty quickly. But what there is a problem with, and I'm aware of now, is there's a supply and demand issue. And that's basically, they're building so quickly here in Tulum, and there's such an abundance of places to stay, places that need management, that you are having a little bit of an oversupply for an under demand. I had one instance with it where I had found a property manager, and we had been talking for 5 or 6 months about them managing my property. Everything was put together nicely, and I thought I was done. The manager said, "Hey, listen, sorry, we're too busy. We have too many units. I can't manage yours anymore." There's so many different options to choose from when you come to Tulum that maybe it's a little bit tougher of a market than I thought it would be. People will come here, they'll enjoy it, and they'll want to come back. I mean, it's the little details that really matter. It's not, everyone's going to have 2 beds and a kitchen table, but what sort of linens are you using? What does the wall decor look like? And I've been doing this long enough to know that the details matter. So it's not all about the bottom line. It's not all about the cash on cash investment. And it's more about the experience, the feeling that you create when people come there. And in este caso, yo pensé que mi casa están muy buenísimo para las visitantes porque es más cómodo, es mucho cómodo y mucho espacio y los muebles son naturales, no son papeles. Es como es, ¿qué es?
Sí, madera, ¿no?
Es madera, Mis muebles son todo maderas.
Sí.
Got a little crazy. So what happened is we all met up and we discussed, and it was pre-sale. So none of this right here, this is all done. If you look out the balcony, these are the finished villas. This one's gonna be finished last, probably because how crazy the acquisition was. They decided that maybe mine's last up, I don't know. That day I left, I told him, I said, yes, for sure, I want to buy this unit. I love the way you guys build, and I like the style, and it's a very special project. So I said, yeah, man, I got the money. Let's have the lawyers draw up the contract. My credit was intact, and I had a track record of borrowing, and it was just a matter of talking to a few banks, and all of the banks were lending money that was backed by mortgage securities, which was backed by the US government. So I started talking to the banks, and they told me, oh, we can close in 30 days.
I see.
So at the same time, my lawyer's ironing out this deal with Geraldo, and they're kind of slow to respond. So I got a little nervous. Sometimes I lose my poise still. And I wrote him another email and said, hey man, if you sign the contract, I can send you the money tomorrow. Because the bank's telling me, oh, we'll have your money in 2 weeks. Take him a week to respond. What do you know? He signed that day.
Oh,
yes,
no
yes.
way.
So that day, they said, yes, we'll sell you this condo for the amount you're asking for. And I like to hold up to my word. So now the pressure's on me to send him the money. And he's got this huge payroll. There's probably 100 guys working on this project, and they need to buy material. And he trusted me pre-sale to be one of the people that was going to front the cash to finish the job. So he starts reaching out to me almost on a daily basis. Hey, can you send it today? Hey, can you send it today? I'm reaching out to the bank, and what they're telling me is there's such a volume of people borrowing money that yes, I am approved, and yes, I'm in line, but I'm nothing more than one guy in line. It's not their priority to close my loan next. So I have a loan lined up, the terms are great, but it's taking forever to close, and I'm getting messages from these guys. So what I found is in business, it's just best to tell the truth. Yeah, I jumped the gun here a little bit. Like, it's gonna take 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get this money. And he expressed to me like, oh, well, you're slowing us down now because we have payroll and we want to build the pool is actually what they did. And we can't do any of that until you send your check. So I take a page out of the Allentown book. I start pawning shit, sending him, whatever I can at the time. And that bridged us over for like 3-4 weeks, in which case I closed the loan and was able to send him 90% of the cash. So I made it right in the end. I was supposed to originally send 70% up front and then another 30 when it's finished. The day they sent me the money, I sent him 90% and only left 10% on the hook for when they finish. How did you finance the deal in Mexico? I used US debt at 4%, and I got lucky because I timed it. By coincidence, COVID caused an economic issue in the US, which they were fixing or repairing with giving people loans to stimulate the economy. So the US government is like, they give banks money to give out, and that's how I finance this deal. It's super actionable, like anybody can do it. As long as you have a good credit score and you have some sort of foresight of what kind of venture you want to do, you can go to the bank and you can get what's called a business loan, or maybe like, small business loan. And then you can take that cash and you owe them the money and you owe them a monthly payment, but they don't monitor, how you spend it. So I'm starting an Airbnb company in Mexico, and that's completely fine. So Mindy,
Dime.
as an entrepreneur, you're completely responsible for your own business and your own reality. And as entrepreneurs, we're lucky to have the opportunity to create our lives and our reality, and we can do that through our work. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurialism.
Or entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship is that you can create your own reality through your work. And if something in your life, and it's available to everybody, if you have a job right now and you hate your job, but you love working with cameras or you love watching birds, you can start photographing birds and selling the prints. So the first couple of years are never easy. They say the first 10 years are very hard, and then after you hit year 10, it becomes a rhythm. As long as you're okay with suffering a little bit, you can change your entire life by starting a company. And for me, I've been doing this in real estate for the better part of 10 years. I started very young and I went through all the processes. I've done single families, I've done multifamilies. And when COVID hit, it created an enormous amount of chaos in the US. And I was on top of business long before COVID, and I was, very passionate about business, but I got swept up by the tidal wave of what was happening with COVID, and they inflated the market with all sorts of like artificial cash, and people started investing in stocks that had never invested in stocks before, and I was one of them. And then you start watching CNBC and you just get swept up by like this energy of like more consumption. And man, I wasn't doing well with it, man. I get carried away very easily. I get very passionate and carried away. And there was a certain point, like right when we first came to Tulum, that I was just going down this path of like more, need. And I knew I had to change something, because I've always been somebody that likes to create from like my heart and my gut and my soul. And I was no longer doing this. I was just going through the motions, the processes, getting super analytical, which is a tool you should have in your tool belt to become analytical, to be able to break down projects and numbers and understand if things will work or not. but I was completely immersed by this analytical side of my brain, and it was making me sick, man. I was eating bad food, and I was trying to analyze every stock, and the properties had to make sense and whatnot, and I was straying away from what had made me successful in the past, which was following my own drum, my own beat, and doing what sat right with me. So this Tulum thing has been an absolute blessing for a few reasons. One, we're out here in the middle of the jungle, and I'm completely disconnected from CNBC. I haven't seen CNBC in months. I'm completely disconnected from the doom and gloom of the news, and I can really hone in on what I'm passionate about and what I'm doing. And then number two, it was an opportunity to take that track that I was going down, the analytical and the need for more, and just like completely shift it into something a little more creative, something passionate that I'm passionate about. Now I'm dealing with, instead of multis that need to make dollars to make sense, I'm back on a creative path where I'm doing something I love, and I'm changing my life. My entire life is changing now. I live here in Mexico, and so more importantly than like what it's done for me is like what it could do for other people too. Like if you're not happy with your situation right now, it's completely within your control to change it. As long as you're willing to go through that first grind of starting up, whatever you're passionate about, whatever's calling you, you can go down a new road, and you can explore new things, and you can bring that to life. And man, like the stress of entrepreneurship no longer weighs down on me. As long as I'm going down a road that feels good with me, I can handle any stress. Not having money because I'm investing it all in the business or whatever the problem is that day. Maybe a coworker or somebody you're dealing with doesn't buy into your idea. Like whatever it is, you can get past it as long as the mission that you're working towards feels right with you and feels valuable to you.
Acá, ¿no?
Hello, Agustín. ¿Cómo estás? Sí.
Maravillado, hace 3 semanas que no venía a la playa.
¿Ya?
La medicina, amé la medicina, la agüita salada, el olor a naturaleza, a libertad, güey.
Es bueno, ¿no?
Feliz. Vamos a elevar unos rezos, hacer unos 30 de rapé, conectar con la naturaleza. Bienvenido, amigo.
Sí, gracias. Boom. Axelano. Hello.
Hola.
Hola. Axelano. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien.
Axelano, ¿está bien?
Muy bien, muy
¿Sí?
bien. Sí, el mar está tan bonita.
Está bonita.
Tan bonita, lo bonito que es.
Sí.
El mar está tan bonita esta noche, y también estamos aquí con Agustín
Ajá.
para rezar.
Sí.
Rezamos
Sí.
como así,
Sí. Oraciones.
oraciones.
Ok.
Sí, sí, sí.
Sí.
Los latidos de tu corazón, madre, te siento bajo mi piel. Siento los latidos de tu corazón. Ea, ea,
ganas por eso.
Sí, qué bueno.
Qué bueno.
Ok.
¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien. Me encanta la playa.
Hey, ¿qué opinas de esta playa?
Muy linda.
Muy linda, ¿sí?
Muy linda, muy linda.
Pero es el más bonita,
Ajá.
es la más bonita playa en todo el mundo.
¿Esta acá?
¿Sí?
¿Sí?
¿O no?
Está bien. Santo Domingo tiene linda
Santo
playa.
Domingo
Yeah,
también,
muy buena
sí,
playa.
¿no?
Yeah.
Sí, claro que sí.
Ok,
Ok.
ok.
Yeah.
Más batería. Oh, muchas gracias.
Yeah.
Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, oh. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey